No, your handgun doesn't really matter that much. First of all, let's get this out of the way. I'm one of those kind of people that says, well, ammunition technology has gotten so far nowadays that, 9mm is able to keep up with 45. And that is absolutely true. 100% it is absolutely true. Because back in the day, we were using ball ammo. Everybody used ball ammo. Or they used some kind of, lead round ball. That was it. Not lead round ball, but round notes. You get my point. In which, ammunition technology has gone far and away from what it was. Okay, 9mm has an expansion diameter of around half an inch, give or take. And 40 calibers, they've gone a long way as well. Even 32 is able to keep up 9mm at this point. What they say about 30 Super Carry, it's true. If you look at the ballistics data, if you look at the ballistic sheets, everything about it, it's able to keep pace. Is it as good? Not quite. But as you'll find later on in this video, good is kind of subjective. Now here's the thing. What a lot of those guys seem to misunderstand a lot is that while yes, small calibers have made it pretty far, pretty good ways, so has 45, so is 44, so is 357. Those are all absolutely great cartridges in and of themselves. Okay, and the bullet technology did not stop with 9mm. So let's get that one out of the way. Now, speaking of bullet technology, when it comes to your carry gun, the brand doesn't matter as much as the ammunition choice. Now, you'll probably hear that a lot. It depends on what you're shooting. It depends on this, depends on that. Here's the thing. I'm not too concerned about what brand of ammunition you're carrying. I am concerned about what bullet you're firing. Alright? Because at the end of the day, if the bullet doesn't perform, what does it matter what brand of ammo you have? Now, what I've got in my carry gun is 9mm Speer Gold Dot 124 grain. It's a nice in between of everything that I want. Not worried about over penetration. Not really worried about under penetration here. Now, if you are worried about those things, don't worry about necessarily what kind of caliber you have. You need to worry about what kind of bullet you've got. If you're carrying, we'll just say 9mm, you're worried about over penetration, that's fine. Get yourself either some kind of fragmentation round, like you would on steel targets, like some indoor ranges will have you do on steel targets, or get yourself some kind of fast expanding hollow point, okay, with a low expansion threshold, which means the velocity that is needed is relatively low to make that expand all the way. And like I said, I like using Speer Gold Dot. I'm not really too worried about it. Alright. Now, if you're worried about under penetration, like if you were carrying, let's say, a 32 of some kind, okay, or a 380. You're worried about, well, what if he's wearing winter clothing? What if he's this? What if he's that? That's fine. Barnes makes copper expanding hollow points for handguns, and they are excellent in penetration. There's also the Lehigh Defender, not the Lehigh Penetrator. The Penetrator is plagued with horrible marketing of, this will penetrate through all the things, and it's damn near a war crime, and X, Y, and Z. Well, you show up to court after you shoot somebody with that. Guess what? They're going to look at you and go, oh, well, you were out for blood, obviously. And you sit there and you'll be saying, no, I was defending my home. I was defending my family with the best tools I have. They don't care. What you were looking at with that is a longer process to get you out of the judge's sight. That's what you're looking at. Now, with a round that says defender, well, clearly you were in defense. You were preparing simply for defense. It's the same thing with Hornady. You go with Hornady critical duty. What do you think, you're a cop? You think you're some big hotshot? You were preparing for this. How dare you? 20 years in prison. Doesn't matter what the other guy looked like. You're on the hook. That's the kind of things you need to watch out for. Whenever it comes to gun, whenever it comes to bullet selection, you need to worry about what they're going to say in a courtroom. That's the other thing I can't stand about modern day guns. Everyone worries so much over accessories. Accessories. Oh, you need this red dot. Oh, no, you actually need this red dot. You need this light. Oh, this light explodes. You need this. You need that. You need this kind of trick. Forget that. Almost any stock handgun in the market can do just the job. If you actually look at USPSA Grandmasters, you know what a lot of the guys are on the top of the leaderboard with? A stock Glock 19. Your accessories don't really matter that much. Yeah, they can be nice, but at the end of the day, they don't matter nearly as much as that judge looking down on you and saying, what do you mean you had RIP rounds? Rest in peace rounds? What the hell is wrong with you? Or you can sit in front of that judge and say, well, sir, I was using spare gold dot. 9 times out of 10, that's what the officer next to him is going to be carrying. Or it's going to be Hornady critical duty or Hornady critical defense. Stop worrying so much about the gun. Start worrying about everyone around you. Right? Because at the end of the day, it really comes down to people. It comes down on how people are going to react to you, how someone's going to react whenever you pull your gun, if you pull your gun. It comes down to body language. It comes down to if they're attacking you or not. Okay? Yes, it's unfair. Yeah, it sucks. But at the end of the day, you got to deal with it and you got to adapt with it. Now, don't get me wrong. I would much rather be a felon than be dead. You know, French Foreign Legion is a hell of a backup. Look into that if you want to. But at the end of the day, we got to adapt with what we got. There's an old boy up in Michigan that people were breaking into his shed. And they broke in there about 10 times. And every single time he called the cops. Cops came over and said, we can't do anything about it. Sometimes they would actually come in armed. Police said, can't do anything about it. And then one day, he decided to take matters in his own hands, like a true red-blooded American. And he went out there, and he shot him. Well, guess what? It was ruled as a unlawful use of force, unneeded use of force. He was put in jail. Is it right? No. Should he have the right to shoot him as soon as they come on his property? That's for y'all to decide. But at the end of the day, man is behind bars because he went against the law. That's something you really got to start worrying about. Start worrying about what kind of red dot you have. Stop worrying about if you should put a light or a laser on your AR. Start worrying about where your property line is. Start worrying about what the letter of the law says about you shooting somebody in your house, shooting somebody that just planted a foot on your door, somebody that's on your yard. Seems like a lot of the gun world has lost touch with reality. And I'm hoping to put a bit of a stop to that, at least slow it down. Speaking of slowing down, stopping power. Let's talk about stopping power. What is stopping power? Stopping power is a mystical force that people whisper whenever they talk about their handgun choice. Oh, it's got this much kinetic energy, it's got this much stopping power, it's got this, it's got that. When they were coming out with the weapons trials in, I believe, 1909, when they were testing it, that they should go with a 38 caliber or a 45 caliber, 40 caliber, etc. Y'all might have seen the Fat Electrician's video on 45 ACP anti-cal projectile. I love that video to death. But the reality of it is, in that trial, they tried rounds on the cows, see which round killed the cow the fastest. They also tried them on human cadavers. Cut them open, saw the results, see what happens. Now, a lot of people think the conclusion of that test was, 45 will do it. 45 is perfect. 45 is more than enough, etc. The reality is, at the end of that test, the researchers concluded that at the end of the day, if you don't have a rifle, and no use in stopping anything. A man can't be stopped by a handgun. Not really. Sure, you can hit him in the head, you can hit him some nerves, you can do what have you, but at the end of the day, it doesn't do nearly as much as what a rifle will do, which is common sense. But people want to tout 45 as being this almighty thing. No. 45 doesn't do nearly as much as what a lot of people think. Don't be wrong. I'm a fan of 45. I like 45. I like how much penetration it has. I like how much it can do on a wild animal mainly. Because at the end of the day, bigger hole is kind of better. But 9mm works. I don't have to worry about, how big that handgun is. 9mm guns are smaller. 9mm guns, they can hold more rounds. All the things. At the end of the day, man, there's tools. And you got to fit the right tool to the job. Now, what tool you use, that's up to you. But I personally wouldn't use a Phillips head on a bolt. I wouldn't use a socket on a flathead screw. Just use common sense. Slow down and think about it. Now, when it came to the cow tests, they also worried about shot placement, where you're shooting, how you're shooting, how many rounds you're shooting, etc. And that's what a lot of people like to tout. All that matters is shot placement. That is true. Where you put that round matters a whole lot more than people actually understand and realize. A whole lot more. A lot of people don't really understand how small of a target the heart is. A lot of people don't understand how many people have survived getting shot in the heart, getting shot in the lungs. Start thinking about shot placement. Start thinking about how you're going to carry. Start thinking about if you can afford what you want. Start thinking about the legality of the situation. Stop listening to all these gurus that are trying to shill you some kind of messed up body armor made in China. Start thinking about what fits you, not what everyone else is saying. Look at hard facts, hard data, and what you can do. Now, I'm going to sit back, relax, and enjoy. God bless you. See you in the next one.